Now, before you gather with loved ones tomorrow at the dinner table, federal health leaders are urging you to get all of your vaccines. Now, yesterday we told you about the rise in RSV and flu cases at Cook Children's in Fort Worth. We're seeing those trends extend across the country. And aside from RSV and flu, there's still COVID to contend with.
The best way to save lives this holiday season is to ensure that all Americans, particularly seniors, get their updated COVID vaccine and their flu vaccine.
Now, doctors say take a COVID test before you gather, and if you're feeling sick, stay home. Wearing a mask and washing your hands are also still good ways to protect you and those you love.
ACLU Texas wants the federal government to look into policies at some North Texas schools aimed against transgender students. The ACLU has filed complaints with the U.S. Department of Education. They want the DOE to investigate whether Frisco and Keller ISDs are violating student civil rights. Last week, Frisco ISD approved a measure that requires students to use bathrooms that match their assigned sex at birth. And Keller ISD banned library books related to gender fluidity. The ACLU argues these policies are discriminatory.
We're very concerned about the anti-trans rhetoric as we go into the next legislative session, and really concerned about what this means for trans and non-binary youth in the state.
If the Department of Education finds merit in these complaints, it can compel the districts to make certain changes. We reached out to both school districts, but both are closed this week for the Thanksgiving holiday, and neither have responded. It's deadline day at the U.S. Supreme Court. The Justice Department is asking it to allow President Joe Biden's student loan relief plan to take effect amid legal challenges. The court has given plaintiffs until noon today to respond. The government has stopped taking applications after lawsuits from several states. While there's no forgiveness yet, there is new relief. President Biden is pausing loan repayment again until June 30th. He says this will give the Supreme Court enough time to rule on this case during their current term.
Now, many of you have probably started preparing for your Thanksgiving meal, but we do want to pass along some safety tips if you plan on deep frying your turkey. Austin firefighters are showing you what not to do when it comes to frying a turkey. Now, this is what happens when you have too much oil, the oil's too hot, and you add a frozen turkey. Now, Texas ranks #1 when it comes to the most grease and cooking fires on Thanksgiving Day. So firefighters are offering these suggestions to prevent you from starting a turkey fire.
There are 5 things that you don't want to do. You don't want to have too much oil in the pot. You don't want to drop a frozen or partially thawed turkey into the deep fryer. You want to basically let it sit in the fridge for about 3 days. You don't want to have the fryer too close to a structure. If anything happens, it's going to easily become a structure fire.
Now, fire crews also want you to know that if it does catch fire, do not use water to put it out. You're going to need a fire extinguisher. And of course, never leave your turkey unattended while it's cooking.